HR Solutions, and I'm here today on Focus Forward with Penny Isaac Nelson, and we are going to talk about outsourcing. This is something that's near and dear to my heart because I think it's extremely hard to do, but Penny's going to help us with it. So Penny, tell us, what is outsourcing?
Outsourcing is when, like you as a business owner, you've got some tasks and things that you need to get done, so you look to another company to do them for you. So instead of doing it in-house at your own, out of your own, business, then you're gonna work with another company to get the same jobs done.
And what kind of things would somebody outsource?
There is an endless list, Lori. Do you really want me to go there? It's really mind-blowing to think of all the things that a company can outsource. And when you think about what if you had to hire the people to do all of these possibilities, you could just have thousands of staff, and who can afford that? So there's three things that I think are the most common that people outsource the most. One of them is their HR services, because taking care of your employees, and you've got benefits, and you've got regulations, and you've got insurance, and negotiating insurance with plans for your staff. And then there's penalties if you're not doing everything correct and crossing all your T's and dotting your I's. And so most small businesses just want nothing to do with that because they don't have anybody on staff that's an expert in that. So outsourcing HR is a huge one that's really common for small businesses and nonprofits too, I would add. Something else that they outsource often is their marketing of their social media channels. Because that can get quite complex. If you're not a blogger, if you don't like to write content, if you aren't experienced doing that, if you don't know what a tweet is, you don't know how to make friends and likes and all of the follows and all the things that happen on Twitter and Facebook, then this is an area that I think will probably just drain you dry. And so outsourcing that to somebody who loves doing that is just a really great idea for a small business to do in a nonprofit.
Also, the other thing about that is it takes a specific
Yes.
knowledge. It's not like you can just take
Right.
somebody
Right.
and like put them in that role. They really
Right.
have to have.
Right. Yep. And it's nice to say, well, it won't take you all day, or it shouldn't take you all day. But if it's not in your wheelhouse, it's going to take you all day to do, and even just to learn those.
It's a big learning curve.
It is. It's a huge learning curve. And so outsourcing that is probably one of the biggest, besides human resources, that most businesses do. So that
makes
yeah,
sense.
Yeah, it does make sense. The other area is virtual business support services, which can be just about anything. So when you think about all the things it takes to run your business, all the back end, behind the scenes, some of it's administrative. It could be research. It could be just doing travel kinds of things, and you take off and go to the islands and do conferences. That takes a lot of time to make arrangements like that and work on facilities and rental. All of those kinds of things really can just be like a day is gone before you know it. And so outsourcing those kind of virtual business services can be really helpful. And when I say virtual, really the person doing this can be anywhere.
Exactly.
Yeah, and I think a lot of times when we think outsourcing, I think people think, oh, overseas.
Exactly.
We think outsourcing, we must call the help center in or wherever. But really, in this day and age with technology, outsourcing can be your neighbor next door. It could be somebody in a completely different state, or it could be another country.
So when we look at it, what are kind of everything you mentioned, I could absolutely see. But what are some of the things that people don't normally think about outsourcing that they could outsource very easily and gain a lot of time from?
Oh yeah, well the first one for sure comes to mind is project management. Because everybody's got a project, everybody's got something that they haven't been able to get to. And for a lot of businesses or nonprofits, those things are critical. And if you just don't have the staffing, let's just put on one more hat as the leader of the organization and do that too. I think you can find some great project managers out there who really have a passion for what you're doing, want to see you be successful. I know in my world, as I work with clients, it's not just about Penny getting a job and making some money, man. I just want to see you successful. And for me, it's a huge win if I can just come alongside you and help you be successful. So there are a lot of great people out there if you just start to look for them that can help with that. So project management for sure would be one of those things that people might not think about.
That's awesome. And what about another thing that I think that people have a really difficult time with and might not necessarily think about is like when they need new phone systems, when they need new computer software, when they need those things. I think it's really important to outsource that because that's the best way to go about doing it.
Exactly. And figuring out what's the best for you to get that fits your business. That takes time, that takes research. It takes, being a good consumer is you check around, you get bids, and you do all that background before you make a decision and start to spend your money. As a business owner, you got to be careful with that. So having somebody help you do that is a great thing to outsource, for sure. That was a great example.
So when you're thinking about outsourcing, what might be some of the questions you ask yourself to prepare yourself, not necessarily somebody else, but to prepare yourself for maybe choosing the right person, choosing the right project, maybe budgeting? What are those things that you would ask yourself?
First, I would say to a small business owner, I would say, think about your day, think about your week, just a typical week. And when you run through your day and the things you need to do, what are the things that have a high pain factor? And high pain means you don't look forward to doing it. You'd rather just like shoot yourself instead of do it. We've all got those things that we just are not good at, we don't like to do, or they're going to take so much time and you really need to be spending your time building the business. So the things that are a high pain point, and that could be like all the things we've talked about, but think about like your gut reaction when you start to think about what you need to do and what you got to get done this week. And that's a really good clue on where to start to think about finding someone to come alongside you and help you do those things.
That's one of the things that I think entrepreneurs might not be as aware of is their feelings about things, because I think that they're so busy all the time. They, everything is, first of all, everything is a priority. There's tons of things that need to get done. Everybody wants their time. They have to deal with customers and sales and, the finances and all that. I think they're not necessarily aware about the way they're feeling about specific projects.
Exactly, I'd agree with you. And I think another piece of that is that sometimes we struggle and we think, well, if I do it myself, I know it'll be done right. If I hand it off, I don't know. Part of that, I would say, is you vetting out the right person and getting some recommendations. I think that part of that's on you to do the due diligence. But the other part of it is, I think it's a good question to ask is, does the task that I'm thinking about, the pain factor for me, does it have to be done perfect? Is 100% what we're shooting for, or could I live with 90? That'll help you really think about the kind of person you want to work with, and then it will help you release the control and just let them do the project or let them do the task. Those are, we all can't be at 100%. Even ourselves doing our own business, we don't hit everything at 100%. So, but there are things you want done really well. But could you live with 90? Would that be okay?
I really like that point, and that's something that I really want to think about. What are those things that could be done that are going to be done good enough that aren't necessarily going to affect the overall of the business, going to make it smooth so I don't have to do it or someone else in the office wouldn't have to do it. I think that's an important point. What could we do 90% or have done 90%? And it would be okay, and it wouldn't negatively impact the business.
Exactly.
Great advice. Thanks so much for coming on.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
So I'm Lori Fleckett of Zoltar Solutions here on Focus Forward with Penny Isaac Nelson of Superior Results. Was that a great show or what? I really learned a lot, and I hope you did too. Thanks so much for being here. Bye-bye.